Hey YouTube, so this is part 2 of the frame swap video. I posted my last video as a premiere, which I wasn't entirely sure what that meant, so hopefully it's just a video now and anybody can watch it. But anyway, I tried to check it to see if it was playing okay, and they had all this premiere mumbo jumbo at the beginning of it. So that said, I'm going to go ahead and cut the video for the actual motor installation on the new frame and get that rolling. So here it is. Alright, so I'm switching to the hat cam. So those who despise heavy breathing will just have to suffer or mute the volume or stop watching the video. I'll do my best not to breathe, but it's kind of hard to work that way. So what I'm going to do is, let's see. I want to fix this first and mount it. That way it's going to be easier to work on the bike. So let's get started on that. Okay, so try this one first. The hole is right there. That's pretty close. A little bit off, don't it? I think it'll be fine. Alright. Yep. Yeah, I don't want to make any really big holes in this stuff because we all, can appreciate the quality and strength of this metal. So I just want to keep the holes fairly small. Let me see, where's this at? Right there, okay. Look at that. Even more difficult to put on now. Fine. Perfect. Why waste a nail? Let's see if we put it on the inside. Looks better. Yeah, I think it'll work fine. There we go. Right. I think I'm going to cut off a piece of this and run it down here just to keep the cable protected, but I guess that'll be fine right there. I'm just going to try to use it to protect the cable so it doesn't fray, you know.
protection there. Oh, just a quick note. I got these on eBay for $35 for the pair. I was looking under Goodyear. I thought that's what these would be. They turned out to be a brand called Duro, which I've seen a lot of on the internet, as well as a pair of inner tubes for them. And normally I pay 20 bucks a piece for Goodyear tires. And this is a tread wheel after, I don't know, 2-3 weeks of use or more, maybe a month of use. This is the front, and they've been holding up pretty well. Probably not the best, but just thought you'd like to know. What's making that noise? Well, I guess that works. A little bit tighter than I'd like. Yeah, I guess it's good. For now, anyway. Alright, so that's done. Just wanted to make sure I had the decent cable protection there. Okay. So there's that. I go in the back. Yeah, this used to have an Allen head through here, and there's some pieces that came off here, and it actually sat upside down and was more parallel with this, and those pieces broke. So I put it on this way, and it seems to be holding up better. Alright, let's see if this gives me any clearance. It does. Awesome. Yeah, because when those little feet broke off, those little rubber feet, you know, I think one of the reasons is I was really hard on it, and also start it like this, which probably isn't the best thing to do considering that metal isn't very strong. Now I can work on it like I want to. Goopy hand grips. And look at them, they're sauce. You know? Will this fit? I got that same old muffler problem. Oh, good. It's just out of the way. I still got that issue with the the breather being really close to this. It wants to sit like that, which I don't like because it's too hard to get the breather off of it. Yeah, every time I go to order one of these banked, or what is it, angled intakes, they're out of stock all the time. So I've never bought one, you know. Yeah, what needs to happen is it needs to come up. Oh, I think I can stick a spacer in there. I think that's what I can do. I don't know if I have one. What do you think? Will that work? Cut a piece like that. Drill a couple of holes in the end. That's an idea. Useful piece of metal I found lying in the yard. Good enough. Boy. Okay, did a little bit of rummaging around, and look what I found. My threaded rod, so I can replace my engine mount studs. Works great. And a little bit earlier I went ahead and ran a cable for the rear brakes. I just took this off the old bike, sitting right there, and I guess that's about all it's good for, salvage. And I cut the cable sheath and the cable on this metal cutter here. If you cut the cable really slow, you can actually do it without fraying the cable. So I was able to run it back through, cut it down to about this size, I guess. And anyway, I'll deal with that in a minute. Now that this is done, I need to figure out how am I going to. I need to figure out the kind of links I need on this. What I wanted to do, actually, was see if I can thread one of these back in. Oh, and I also put the seat. I just took the seat post out of the old bike and put it in here. I think that much stud should be good. New studs. That's much stronger metal too. So stronger stud metals. This metal is much stronger. I got it from I found a place in Burbank that sells metric, nuts and bolts and things. As I go to Home Depot and really couldn't find what I was looking for, and they have a really low selection of metric stuff anyway. And I wasn't able to find threaded rod there, metric. I think it's all standard. Plus, it's kind of a mom and pop shop over there. So when I asked him for a solution, I said, "You got a nut that's kind of long?" He said, "Why don't you use a rod coupler?" Oh, yeah. Now the next part of my plan. Gives you some idea how strong that metal is. Alright, well, I'll let that dry out. And I'll dab some Loctite on the end of it. This goes on the back. Anybody ever watch that old Joss Whedon show, Firefly? For some reason, I keep thinking about an episode called, what's it called, Ariel? It's when they raid the hospital, steal all the drugs. Jane Cobb tries to betray the group by selling out River and Simon to the feds. I keep thinking about that scene. What am I thinking about? Oh, I'm thinking about what's her name? Zoe. She comes in and she says something about Jane being so generous with his cut. I think Malcolm is standing there. He doesn't really say anything, but he's noticed this kind of a purposely unconcerned look on his face. I remember that scene where he's yelling at Jane through the intercom when he has Jane in the airlock. And I keep going over that. Just kind of wondering in my head what kind of conclusion would Jane really come to? I mean, at one point would he stop being such a mercenary and start just staying true to his crew? Man, I hope it doesn't have anything to do with the fact I just posted this last video I did on the Bikeberry, on the Bikeberry frame, on the Bikeberry group. I don't expect it to sit there for very long, but we'll see. It's not like I had any expletives towards Bikeberry. I just really don't care for that frame. And I still would not recommend it to anybody. It's just such a pain in the butt to deal with. I was thinking about taking some old inner tube and wrapping it here, setting the engine on that, but I've kind of gotten the impression from listening to people that putting any kind of cushioning on this actually causes the engine to vibrate more than it should, which makes sense. But I figure I'm just putting this on here to protect the frame, really. Nothing big. It probably won't do too much, but nice to have something there. Put a little more on. Because my last bike, my first bike that I had one of these motors on, you can't see it on the back, but you can on the front, where the mounting kit used to be. There's a similar scar on the back, I think even worse, actually. And I really don't want that. Anyway, could be the other reason I'm thinking about Fireflies. We got this massive Chinese-American sort of conglomeration going on, you know? And Firefly was definitely about that. No, it's too long. I'll have to cut this in half. So add this on. Oh. Okay, that looks fine. I was thinking, if America won't make two-cycle motors and sell them, at least that's the last I heard, they couldn't do something like that. I don't remember, but it was okay to import them from China. Maybe Germany could, you know. I remember back in the day, I was always checking out German home stereos. They had those all-metal cases, and I mean, they were stout stereos. They were built like ham radio sets from World War II. I mean, they weren't low technology or nothing. They were just built really, really well. Oh, here's one of those washers I was talking about that I made using a hole saw on a 1/4-inch thick piece of metal, and that's what I have spacing this between the rubber or the wheel and the sprocket. So that's my other concern. How does this line up? Now that it's on, it looks, well, I don't know. Looks like it might be really close to the wheel. I've got some large washers I can put over the axle. I mean, spreading this apart, I'm certain it's still going to want to center itself. It's just which one would I want to spread out? This one? Would it push the wheel, the sprocket more this way? Or this one? Moving this out a little bit? I'm thinking this one. I think this one will cause the sprocket to come out a little bit. But I'll figure that out when I get there. These will on pretty straight. They didn't really bend all that much. Put a lock washer, smaller lock washer in before the tall washer, so it's held up a little bit. And I was able to tighten it down really good, which I like. You know, these things and the old studs, I mean, you tighten them down enough and, you know, they start to peel. I mean, some of these threads will just peel off, or the threads on the nut will start to peel off. So this metal is just too soft. How strong this is. That'll break after a while. Might be a little bit large. I'll stick with something small like this. But as long as I can have something to just have the tie grab to, that way I can do I need this? I probably don't. Let's see. This might be fine. Yeah, that's probably fine. Got plenty of tiny black ones, maybe a couple of those. See how well that works. Good. I can sort of adjust this. Don't make it too tight. And keep it from moving too much. Go ahead and tighten this. I want to move this out a little bit because I have a tendency to accidentally hit the kill switch a lot. Okay. Pull this out. Looks promising. Now, you know, I'm going to drill out this cable stay. Maybe, I don't know, would that be a good idea? And just run this into that? I just drilled this out, ran it through. Try not to fray the cable. That's what I need. I think this is used to tighten the clutch. I mean, you can tighten it. Well, that's for the throttle. You can obviously tighten it here, I think. I don't know if this wore out. These aren't very strong, so this is the best place to try to tighten it from. So I just put it in all the way so I can tighten it if I need to. I prefer using these screws to tighten it because having to loosen and tighten this thing all the time is what frays the cable so much. There we go. Okay. There we go. Okay. And this is just a piece of heat shrink tubing. I just threw over the rocker arm, I guess that's called. There's a little pin that sticks out. Goes up that slot. Oh crap. This pet cut doesn't fit in this tank. Oh no, look at those threads. And look at these threads. Well, there you go. Okay, I think I got a spare. I hope it's got the right size thread. It's got a washer on it, that's good. A little filter there, that's cool. I might borrow the washer from this other one and see if I can get it to sit somewhere I want it to sit. No. So let's take off the red gasket. It looks like it's falling apart anyway. Try this. Maybe that'll give me some luck. Still facing towards the back. Oh, that's good. That's good. Okay. Yeah. That's what I need right there. Here's an old inner tube that went flat. So that there. Good. Okay. Oh, wow. Barely room. It's a very wide bar. Yeah, that doesn't squeeze at all. It's good. It's got that old typical motorbike look now. Yeah, the rubber's kind of causing a little bit of motion, but it's not the motor, so I won't worry about it. I bought 2 feet of fuel line because I knew it was going to be a long way from here to here. So I've got this on here. I just want to make sure this is out of the way of the choke, because I bent this handle back because I kept grabbing it with my pant leg. And so, but when I was on the other bike, it was a little lower, or the pedals would come up and my pant leg would snag on it, so I just bent it, so get it out of the way. So that's why I put this here, because I kept snagging on this bolt right here. So. I want to set this so it kind of sits up a little bit. I want to keep it a little bit away from the head. How light is this thing now? That's not bad. It's a lot easier to pick up. It's not as unwieldy and bulky as the other one. Okay. Looks too close to the wheel. So I need to cut a link out. Those are hard to get out, which is good. Okay. Good enough. Let's see if I can get this to work now. Dang. That's a lot of slack just for one. Do a little bit of cleanup so I can move around, put all my bicycle and motor parts in a container. Anyway, I cleaned up this because I want to use this, and I managed to get this mounted. My camera died, so I didn't I missed some of this, but I did went ahead and put in 2 master links just to get some length here, and used a regular tensioner. I'm just going to have to deal with the fact that this large chain rubs on the sides of the pulley, and that'll probably wear in at some point. I just don't know how it's going to wear in. 2 things I need to do is I got to figure out how to get some spacing between the chain and the tire, and once that's done, then I can adjust this. I may try to, I've got another one of these. I didn't like using this one because it's got a, you see how this is got a much deeper bend to it than this does, but on this particular frame this works fine. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to heat this up as hot as I can get it and see if I can just twist it, counterclockwise a little bit, just so I can get that pulley straight and lined up with the chain. I'm going to stick some washers in between the the wheel and the frame. There we go. That work? Did that work? compromise is my bolt isn't going very far into my nut, about halfway, but it's tight. Need that, and need that. Okay, I hope that'll do it. I gotta let that cool off. That looks good. Is that lined up perfectly, or looks like it? You have to check for how loose it gets and how tight it gets. I think that'll have to do. Okay, unbeknownst to you, last night, actually, when I got the chain on and got this on, despite the fact it was at an angle, I did get this started. And it actually didn't take much effort at all. It was pretty easy. Tighten the motor mounts. I forgot about those. Definitely a lot easier to manage. Oh man, that feels so much better. Right here's where I found this bike frame. I just dropped it on the street with another one and some other junk. Man, this feels better as a motorized bike. It responds better. Alright, what's that buzzing? Oh, it's the kickstand. Alright. Motorized bike version 2. Okay, so I gotta straighten the rim really. Probably just just tighten some of these spokes on one side or another, just try to get it straighter. Because this is a really crooked rim. And it came that way. Marin frame, Bikeberry motor. I mean, as long as it runs, I'll use it.
Okay, so that's it on this build. Thanks for watching. I've done a little bit of work since then. I'll probably post a video, or at least intermix some pictures and whatnot of what I did. I replaced the clutch shaft as well as the clutch assembly itself. Actually, the whole clutch assembly I replaced. Put in some new bearings, and if anything, it straightened out the bolt that the flower nut goes on, and so the clutch plate doesn't wobble like it used to. So that's a lot more stable. I've been riding it a while. One thing I did notice was the motor sprocket. The chain goes through. Was a little bit tight for the chain links, so they would kind of bind a little bit as they were going through. So I was riding it pretty heavily, and it seems to have smoothed out. So I don't know if it wore in the chain or wore in the sprocket. So if it wore in the sprocket, good. If it wore in the chain, not so good. But in any case, I'll keep an eye on it and see how it goes. But I do like that chain. It's all my chain problems went away when I bought that, so I do recommend one of those, just to keep an eye on the sprocket and the chain assembly. They do I think they got to get used to each other. I'm sure I'll be doing other things with this bike. I plan on building, assembling, or purchasing a lighting system for it, because I do definitely need one. The one I use now just uses AAA and AA batteries, which is kind of a pain in the butt. It's not very stable or efficient. There are other things I probably plan on doing to the bike, but as I make changes to it, I'll definitely post videos about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more and be updated, do subscribe or hit the notification bell. I also have a Patreon link in the description below. If you want to support this channel, consider donating to that. Until the next video, thanks for watching.